Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at a literally monumental shift in the tech ecosystem. Imagine this, it's 2026, and the very definition of what it means to be a software developer, it's been radically rewritten. Generative AI is no longer just, a cool peripheral tool or a simple chatbot you ask to write a poem. No way. It is fundamentally transitioned into the foundational layer of global enterprise infrastructure. Manual syntax construction is out. Orchestrating autonomous, agentic systems, that is in. So we're going to break down exactly what this means for your career, the tools you use, and how you build software moving forward.
Okay, let's dive into this because this number right here, it basically tells the entire story of the 2026 ecosystem. Recent developer surveys highlight this massive, almost shocking reversal. Engineers are now spending an average of 11.4 hours a week reviewing machine-generated code compared to just 9.8 hours actually writing it. The code tsunami is officially here. AI agents are out there generating pull requests asynchronously while you work on other stuff. So your primary job, it's shifting from writing raw code to auditing it for subtle security vulnerabilities and architectural drift.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the autonomous AI era. Then, we'll be demystifying agentic RAG before tackling the AI code tsunami. After that, we'll cover scaling enterprise trust. And finally, we'll ask, are you a power user or a builder? Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The autonomous AI era. From simple chatbots to enterprise infrastructure.
To really grasp just how permanent this industrialization is, we need to take a step back and look at the macro perspective. Look, this is not a passing trend. Market projections from IDC show European AI spending alone is set to reach an astonishing $144.6 billion by 2028. Globally, infrastructure spend is going to blow right past $200 billion. Enterprises are aggressively provisioning data, retrieval systems, and orchestration layers. We aren't just talking about playing around with prompts anymore. We are talking about mission-critical, billion-dollar corporate infrastructure.
And to build that kind of infrastructure, developers have completely moved away from basic model wrappers to highly specialized modular frameworks. The industry has unbundled features into what we call the Big Three agent frameworks. If you're in a highly regulated sector like finance, say, you're probably using LangGraph. It uses directed graphs and state machines, which is absolutely crucial so you can pause, resume, and audit agents at every single step. Now, if you're a startup looking for high velocity, you'll likely reach for Crew AI to build out role-based collaboration, like having a virtual AI researcher and an AI reviewer working together. And then there's Microsoft's AutoGen, which is dominating the conversational space, letting multi-agent systems iterate through back-and-forth dialogue. It's wild stuff.
Moving on to Section 2, Demystifying Agentic RAG, when AI plans its own research.
So we know the tools, but how do these systems actually think and process information? I want you to really think about this for a second. What does an AI agent actually do? We throw that word around all the time, right? But what separates a true agent from your standard AI text generator?
Well, the answer lies in agentic RAG. Classic retrieval-augmented generation, or RAG as we know it, was really just fetching a document and asking the AI to summarize it. Pretty simple. But agentic RAG? It's like giving the AI a brain and a pair of hands. It combines open book answering with autonomous planning, the ability to actually use tools, and, this is key, the capacity to reflect on its own work. So instead of a one-shot process, this AI copilot acts as a smart, autonomous researcher that decides exactly what data to fetch, validates it, and loops continuously until it hits a fully grounded result.
Let's move to and see how this builds into what's known as the core REACT loop. That stands for reason plus act. It starts with step 1, the plan, where the agent breaks down your complex prompt into actionable steps. Second, it retrieves and re-ranks the best data using hybrid search. Third, it acts. It might call a web scraper, a calculator, or hit up an internal database. Fourth, and honestly, this is the magic step, it reflects. It actively self-checks the context for accuracy. If it realizes it's missing something, actually, scratch that. It doesn't just realize it. It actively loops back to step 1 to fix it. And finally, step 5, it answers, returning a response completely grounded in real citations.
As you're out there building these systems, keep this 2026 industry mantra firmly anchored in your mind. Fine-tune for form, RAG for facts. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. If you want your model to speak in your brand-specific tone of voice or output in a very strict, specialized coding structure, you fine-tune it. But if you want accurate, up-to-date knowledge without the hallucinations, you use agentic RAG for sure.
All right, Section 3,
The AI code tsunami, the rise of AI-native IDEs.
With all these agents fetching data and writing code, developers desperately need specialized integrated development environments just to manage the flood. Because let's face it, letting an AI loose on your codebase without supervision, that's a recipe for disaster. We've all spent hours hunting down a missing semicolon or, blindly copy-pasting from Stack Overflow, and an unchecked agent can do that exact damage at light speed. Just look at how the landscape of AI code editors has fragmented into highly specialized tools. Cursor is a massive player right now, functioning basically as a visual multi-agent orchestrator. Its key innovation is cloud agents running in isolated virtual machines, meaning they can autonomously build, test, and demo features entirely in the background. Pretty amazing. Then you have Windsurf, which really focuses on developer flow with a cascade agent that can literally take an image you drop in and instantly generate a React layout from it. And for the really big enterprise teams, Augment Code uses a semantic context engine to trace complex bugs across massive architectural repositories. We're talking over 400,000 files.
Moving right along to Section 4, Scaling Enterprise Trust, Governance in the Agentic Age. So it's great that AI can code an entire app, but how do enterprises actually deploy this safely without exposing highly sensitive corporate data? And this brilliantly illustrates the core paradox of 2026. Look at these numbers. Usage of AI has skyrocketed to 84% among developers, but trust has absolutely plummeted to 29%. Why? Well, because as these systems become more autonomous, the errors they make become way more subtle. A human can easily catch a syntax error, but catching machine-generated architectural drift across 50 files? That's incredibly difficult. This trust gap is, without a doubt, the biggest barrier to enterprise scaling today.
To actually secure the autonomous enterprise, strict guardrails are no longer optional. They are mandatory. Systems must enforce document-level access controls, or ACLs, at query time. This ensures that users, and the AI itself, only see data they are explicitly entitled to, completely preventing multi-tenant data bleed. There's also rigorous compliance mapping for things like the EU AI Act, which mandates strict technical documentation. Furthermore, developers are leaning heavily on NCSA and OWASP guidelines to counter toxic tool use and prompt injection attacks. And perhaps most importantly, they're ensuring human-in-the-loop review queues exist for any high-risk outputs, like legal summaries or policy changes.
Organizations are actually securing these deployments using a highly structured 90-day implementation roadmap. The first 15 days are purely about targeting one specific job to be done and defining strict KPIs. You don't boil the ocean here. Then, days 16 to 45 focus entirely on curating data and building out hybrid search, with those crucial document-level access controls right from day one. Days 46 to 75, that's where the magic happens, orchestrating the actual agents, setting up the planners, the guards, and the reviewers. Finally, days 76 to 90 are all about hardening, evaluating the outputs, running intense red team tests for prompt injection, and ensuring the whole system is rock solid before it ever goes live.
And that brings us to Section 5, Power User or Builder, your 2026 career crossroads.
With all this infrastructure completely reshaping the industry, how do you personally adapt? So the crucial point is that there are two distinct, equally valid paths right now. On one hand, we have the power user. This path requires no coding fluency whatsoever. It's all about mastering the big models, utilizing prompt frameworks, and integrating tools like Zapier to massively multiply your daily output. Your time to value here is just days. On the other hand, we have the builder. This is for those of you transitioning into deep AI development. It requires getting in the weeds with Python, linear algebra, system architecture, and frameworks like LangGraph. The time to value here is measured in months, but man, the long-term career leverage is massive.
But regardless of which path you choose, adopting a true AI-native workflow really just comes down to building new habits. And the absolute most important one is the 3-minute rule. Before you start literally any task, ask yourself, can AI do the first draft? If the task takes longer than 3 minutes to do yourself, the answer is almost always yes. Let the AI handle that 80% draft, and then you step in to provide the crucial 20% judgment and context. If you take away only one thing from today's explainer, please let it be this fundamental truth. The entire tech industry has completely shifted. The new unit of work is orchestration, not creation. You are no longer out there laying every single brick by hand. You are the architect directing a fleet of tireless, automated builders.
Which leaves us with one final undeniable reality to chew on. AI is now your junior developer. It is incredibly fast, but it absolutely needs your supervision, your architectural guidance, and your rigorous auditing. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Are you ready to step up and orchestrate the machine? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep building, and I will see you next time.